Good morning again, and welcome to the Regional Chamber's annual Fall Good Morning Canfield Breakfast Program. I'm Kim Calvert, Vice President of Marketing and Special Events, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. We have a very informative program planned for you this morning, as you'll hear updates from our friends in the city, township, and schools, as well as a presentation about the new expansion at the Mahoning Career and Technical Center. We're also glad to welcome the Canfield Rotary for an update, and we'll hear more about this beautiful facility that we're so fortunate to be having breakfast at today. And as you can see, we are sold out at this event today, but we are definitely proud to be here, and I know everyone was excited to have this event at the library this morning. Of course, we couldn't put these programs together without the help of a very dedicated group of individuals who work and or live in Canfield. If I can ask the members of the Canfield Area Council to please stand, I would like to thank them for their service and dedication to this community. They meet for breakfast several times a year to discuss what's going on around town, their spring awards presentation, and our 2 annual events. The group always welcomes new members, so anyone who lives or works in Canfield should feel free to join us and call me or one of the council members for more information. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Farmers National Bank, a longtime sponsor and supporter of the Regional Chamber in the Canfield community. We would certainly not be able to host any of our events without the generosity of our member companies, and we're honored to have this company with us as a sponsor of our program once again today. Please join me in welcoming from Farmers National, Mr. Kevin Helmick, President and CEO.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Kim, for that introduction. And I always like to start out just thanking the Chamber. Big and small, they put on events for us around the Mahoning Valley. They do these good morning and good evening programs all the time. I see Tom here, President of the Chamber, and I know Marty Bush is here, our chairwoman of our board. And so from Tom and Marty throughout the entire staff, what a great job that they do representing us not only regionally, but also nationally and internationally, trying to bring jobs here and drive some of our economic purpose. And so it's great to get communities here together to share a morning like this and network. So round of applause for the Chamber staff and the Chamber for a great job that they do. Also, I see Heidi in the back of the room. What a beautiful facility, and just the way we've been able to innovate here in Canfield under Heidi's leadership and use this multi-purpose facility. I know Farmers is finally on the books to get the room because it's a very busy place, and we appreciate we're going to be doing some events here in this room and some of the other small meeting rooms. And if you have a use for it, I know Heidi's excited to get the story out and showcase what a beautiful facility is. So thanks, Heidi, so much for having us here. This is my 4th time addressing the Good Morning Canfield group as CEO of Farmers National Bank. I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to go out and tell the story of Farmers. And really, as I thought about today, and I thought about the growth of the bank, and we've doubled in size, and we've been able to go into new markets in Wayne County and Medina County and Cuyahoga County. We now have 2 offices in Pennsylvania. It's really all rooted right here in Canfield. And nothing can be built without a strong foundation. And I thought, over my history with Farmers National Bank, what a great community it is to build the roots of now a strong a community bank that really has a major regional presence. We've been able to attract some of the best bankers and talent in the region, and just so excited to be a high performer in our industry. And I give so much credit to this community of Canfield, Ohio, for giving us that strong foundation. So we're happy to be a sponsor, and thanks everybody. It's a great turnout, and I know it'll be a great program to hear from some of our community leaders. Thank you.
Thank you again, Kevin, and to Farmers National Bank for your support of this program, Canfield City and Township, and the Regional Chamber. As you know, we have 2 programs in Canfield each year because of our council and the fact that they have so much that they want to do, so we have to accomplish that in 2 events. But Farmers has been a longtime sponsor of not just our spring program, but our fall program as well, so we do appreciate you. Moving on, we're always happy to have our city, township, and schools officials at our breakfast to share a little insight about what's going on in our community. And we'll begin with our city's mayor, Mr. Bernie Kosar Sr.
Is this working? Good morning. These are exciting times in Canfield, Ohio.
exciting times. We have three major projects taking place in Canfield. We broke ground recently for the 72-bed assisted living facility. That's going to be in operation at the tail end of 17. I'm told it's a $10 to $12 million construction project. We have broken ground for the new fire station out on Herbert Road. That should reduce insurance rates to all of us. We're very proud of that. We will now have 3 locations. We have completed, the building at the Mahoning County Technical Training Center has been completed, an $8 million construction project. And you're going to hear more about that later, and that's our featured speaker tonight, this morning, will be telling us about that. And that is going to be a wonderful thing happening to Canfield because they will be bringing new jobs into the community. These 3 projects highlight the economic development and construction activity going on in Canfield, but there are other things. We have just completed, or we're in the process of completing, an extensive resurfacing paving program. We, with the help of ODOT, who paid 80% of the bill, have just resurfaced 224 from the Village Green to Palmyra Road. We have completed Route 46 resurfacing from the Village Green down to Fairground Boulevard. We have resurfaced Route 62 from the Village Green out to 446. Where right now, today, we may be paving Timber Run for about 1 mile of resurfacing and part of Fairview Avenue. So it's part of our program to have 0 chuck holes or potholes in Canfield, Ohio. Last year, just to conform with county standards, we had to dig a pothole just to be able to have one. Something nice has just happened. We've been informed by the Chamber that a national business, financial, and investment online publication has chosen Canfield, Ohio as the #1 retirement location in the state of Ohio. If you take this brochure that's on your tables, and it says, choose Youngstown Warren, and they list all of the reasons why you might want to do that. I hope when we have our next meeting, Good Evening Canfield, hopefully it will say, City of Canfield, best retirement community in the state of Ohio. I'm not trying to put pressure on you, Mr. Humphreys, but think about that. Lastly, we have a police levy on the ballot in November. I did an interview at 6:10 this morning, and I was half asleep. The TV crew was a little suspect when I showed up in my jammies. No, it was a telephone interview. And the question was asked, I wanted to tell them about the major construction and the resurfacing, and all they wanted to talk about was the levy, which is a good thing. And the question was, what are you going to do with that money? It's a police levy. It's mandated by law that it's going to go 100% to the police. If you live in Canfield, if you have a vote, we ask for your support. If you have a question about this levy or the need for this levy, the police chief has said, call me. You're not going to find many police chiefs in the country that will encourage you to just call and ask for general information. He has made himself available. He's had some public meetings on this. He's here this morning. But feel free to call him. Call the police department and ask for the police chief. We would really appreciate your support. That's it. It's exciting times in Canfield, Ohio.
Thank you so much, Mayor Kozar. We appreciate your time and the great update this morning. And to Chief Colucci, I did see you come in this morning. My family and I moved to the city of Canfield a couple of years ago from a neighboring community, and I think we were surprised the first time we saw police cars coming down our street, because typically you only see that when they're being called for a reason. And as we would learn in a short amount of time, the police crew does drive around the city and does come down your street several times a day, which always made us feel much safer. So we definitely appreciate you and your team. I would next like to call on Canfield Township Trustee Chairman, Mr. Brian Governor, for his update this morning.
Thanks, everyone. The mayor used it? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, hey, good morning, Canfield. I'm Brian Governor. I have with me Marie Izzo Cartwright, also a trustee in Canfield Township. Marie, say hi. Right there. And I have our Township Administrator, Keith Rogers. Keith, say hi. Okay. First, I just want to give a couple did you knows. Did you know that there's 1,308 townships in the state of Ohio? That's a lot of townships, and with good reason. I believe townships are the most cost-effective way to run a government. And did you know that townships are the oldest form of government in the state of Ohio? In fact, they predate the state of Ohio. So I wanted to give you a couple did you knows this morning. A lot of things going on in the township. I'm going to start with roads and infrastructure. We have our Star Center Drive Phase 1, which is about ready to start. For those of you that travel on Star Center, that's been needed done for a while. So that's going to start next week. That's the plan. So we did that in conjunction with the county. And when you go down that old Tippecanoe Road and go out onto Tippecanoe, that's now going to be 2 lanes, so it'll be a right and a left. So that'll be hopefully help the congestion there, and it'll be nicely paved. Speaking of paving, paving in the township, we did milling work this week, and there is paving scheduled for the first of the week. And yes, this includes the first 1,500 feet of Gibson Road, which is, for those of you that go down that road, that'll be very welcome. And thanks to Keith Rogers for working closely with the county, because we got a lot of roads paved within the township this year. For those of you that travel on Shields, that was welcome to have that done, and also on Herbert in front of the park. So a lot of paving done. In Canfield Township, we have over 1,500 catch basins. We have aging infrastructure, and one thing that we started to do this year was we started a catch basin program. It's never been done before. We're starting by replacing 8 of our worst catch basins. I know that doesn't sound like many, but they're expensive and it's a starting point. And then we started an internal catch basin program, which was an idea actually brought to us by our Public Works Department. We like the idea, and we have our guys going out and actually repairing some of these catch basins in the hopes of that in the long run it's going to save the township money. So we're starting to do that this year as well. Cemetery, we take our cemetery very seriously. Dean Hill Cemetery out on Palmyra. Also another idea brought to us by our Public Works Department. We're going to do a headstone restoration program. That's going to start next week is the plan. We have some headstones out there that you can't even read and that have fallen over and broken. So for the first time ever, we're starting a restoration program, and we're going to get those taken care of. Leaf collection. We do leaf collection in the township. That'll be starting next week. It's free to residents. You do need to have your leaves in a recycled bag. And those are free at the township for township residents. You get your first 5 free with a valid driver's license, and then they're $2 for a packet of 5 after that. And you can check out our website for collection dates, which is canfieldtownship.org. And out at our township park, we installed some handicap railings. We put up some other fence at the entrances, and we had a good year of rental at our buildings out there. A lot of people are finding out that that is a nice building we have out there. And we're doing birthday parties and things out there, so we look forward to that increase next year. Some business in the township. New plaza next to Bob Evans. A lot of you see construction going on there. Napa Development has a new plaza. It's a 4-tenant building, which will be accessible from 224 as well as Ironwood Boulevard. The Get-Go and also Chipotle and Starbucks, which most of you might be excited about, are set to open here probably within the month. So those are not that far away. As the mayor spoke about, Windsor House has broken ground, and that's going on very good out there. And the offices of Leonard Commerce Park has moved into the office building on 224. DePrilly Financial is constructing a building on Center. And Canfield Township continues to lead Mahoney County in residential building permits. So there's a lot going on in Canfield Township. One last thing, we have a grant application out right now for towards a new plow truck, and that's part of the Diesel Emissions Reduction Act. So my thanks to Mr. Rogers for working hard on that. And we also have a new part-time zoning inspector in our office. And if any of you are looking to be on township residents that want to be on the zoning board, we have an opening for that right now as well. So you can check out our website for more information on that. I think that's the majority of what I wanted to say to you this morning. So if there's any questions, I'll be around after. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that update and for joining us today. And yes, it has been awesome driving on the roads around the township for the last couple of months, so we appreciate that. Well, next we'd like to call on the superintendent of our top-rated, phenomenal Canfield Local School District. Well, please welcome Mr. Alex Jordan.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I'd first like to mention to the mayor, he mentioned how, and we love our retirees, don't get me wrong, but we love new families in the perspective of a school system because we always want to take care of our enrollment, tax base, of course, and then also competitive balance is always a topic in Ohio High School Athletic Association these days. And we're very fortunate because we're one of the one districts who does not have open enrollment offerings. So we really want to make sure that our enrollment goes up. So again, love our retirees, but want to have those new families as well. I'd like to first thank the Regional Chamber. Outstanding breakfast, along with when we do the dinners. It's always great to have. Farmers Bank for sponsoring it. The Canfield Area Council for organizing it. And the visionaries and developers of this beautiful facility here. Our kids use this on a daily basis. They come over not only in whole grades, possibly English Language Arts department at the middle school, but also after school activities. So what a wonderful structure and a great resource in our community. Also like to introduce, we have folks from the district with me today. We have Craig Olson and Dave Wilkeson as board members, John Tullio, our district curriculum and instruction director, and also a face that you recognize and maybe a name that you recognize from the past. It's now Patty Prince as our district treasurer. So we want to make sure that we recognize those folks. Ron Irusi's here, and we're going to hear about Educational Service Center and Career and Technical Center. And Ron and I usually like to throw jabs at one another, but I'm going to be very careful because Ron's son now probably has me by an inch or two and maybe a few pounds. And he always is always in the foreground, and I want to be careful, and I tread lightly when I rib Ron there. So now these days, you're lucky to have resources there, Ron. We continue to try to be visionaries and innovators in the district. And the couple slides that we have to show you first and foremost is our mission statement. We continue to drive this. And individual lifelong success. That's a message that we try to continue to present and talk to our youngsters. Individual success. So no matter what level you're on, you're coming to us gifted, you're coming to us as an everyday average youngster coming through the schools, or you're somebody who needs a little bit of extra support. We're going to drive you at your ability level, and we're going to take you to the next level. That's what we continue to try to do. And it would be great to come up here and to be able to mention to you that the state doesn't have any influences on the school system. As we know, we're continuing to need to change and watch the bar where it goes. And we will, again, I'm going to say this, we will make sure that we have our youngsters prepared when they walk the stage. That's a guarantee. Why? Because we have great kids first. Why do we have great youngsters? Because we have outstanding families. And again, top-notch staff. We have a supportive Board of Education who tells us when we recruit, and we do recruit staff and solicit and vet staff members, new staff members coming in the district. Now, one time as a board member said, well, you know what, this might be a cheaper route. No, get the best. And sometimes you get what you pay for. And the staff that we have walking the schools, top notch. First, I'd like to touch on some of the changes in curriculum. Again, the easy way is set cruise control and go. You got a great kids, you have great staff, you have unbelievable community. Set the cruise control and keep going. That's not what we're about in Canfield. We want to see where we're going to grow, how we're going to get better, and what we're going to do to make our kids to be able to be successful and competitive in the global market. First, I'd like to mention our Bridges program, and I don't know if you can see that in the pack, but our Bridges program is a math program in the math department, K through 5. It's a change of how we're developing our youth and the mindset, learning math, getting involved. It's a collaboration effort. It's not just rote memorization. This is something that's new to the district. We piloted it last year in certain grade levels. This year, K through 5, and our kids are responding. If you go through the classroom and see their interaction, eyes light up. It's great to see kids, boys and girls, loving math. It's outstanding to see in the classroom. We've gone to CPM and algebra, CPM, 8th and 9th, but also 6-8 CPM. Now that's a development, they tie together. When you look at curriculum, a lot of times you go primary, then middle school, then high school, and sometimes there are gaps and there's not consistency. What our curriculum and instruction department, along with collaboration with staff, we wanted to make sure that we have a tie there. And I'm going to talk quickly because they told me 5 minutes, so we'll try to get through this quick. Fast track, I have to highlight this for you. 4 years ago, when we first started conversation, we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity, if kids wanted to, now this is very rigorous, but if youngsters wanted to do this, starting in the 9th grade, having coursework and a collaboration with a local university, they could walk across the stage not only with a diploma, but also an associate's degree in arts or sciences. That's an option for our kids today. How we do that is collaboration with the local university online courses, but also our AP courses at the high school. And of course, as you know, we have College Credit Plus as well. So that is huge for our kids. Now, it's a certain population, and it's very rigorous. But if our kids are able to do that and they want to accomplish it, it's available for them. Again, I'll move quickly. You know, we compare ourselves not only in Mahoning County, and this is not arrogant, this is not trying to be someone up here telling you and bumping the chest out, but sometimes we do like to make sure that we recognize success. But we take a look at it and we want to be the best in the state. This is not that it's not good enough to be best in the Tri-County area, but we always try to grow in many different realms and we compare ourselves across the state. Very important, the trend, and you take a look at ACT scores. This year is going to be the first time where it's not only mandated, but it's offered in the schools where every youngster at the high school has ACT available to them, and they actually take the assessment. Our scores and trend continue to go up. So this is very important when you look at post-secondary and where youngsters are going. Curriculum, 96% graduate and go on to higher education. Almost $11 million in the pockets of our kids before they even step into a college. That's unbelievable. That's our kids performing. That's our staff getting them to that level. Sandy Hook, promise you, we'll hear about more of this. If you remember Sandy Hook, East Coast, problems in the schools, active shooter. We're bringing not only curriculum for kids when it comes to academia, but we're also looking at the emotional state of youngsters. And we're going to bring in and help professionally develop our staff on what to look for if a youngster needs help emotionally. If they're isolating themselves, if they're not communicating with others. Sandy Hook Promise, we've had presenters come in, and it's a nationwide movement to how we interact with our kids. The most important thing we do as educators is build relationships. We need to understand what our kids need, and we need to continue to communicate with them. This promise is going to help us get there. Safe Schools is for our staff. We continue to have youngsters who come with different needs in our school system, whether it's EpiPens. Yeah, the cost of EpiPens have gone up. Also, diabetics, many different issues. This is an online professional development opportunity program for our staff to go on in their planning times on their own time so that they can get trained how to handle these youngsters. It's not just send a youngster to the nurse's station anymore. Our staff knows how to be able to do this. Fiscal. It's a huge goal for us. It's a huge goal for you that mandate this on us. Over 70% of our funds go for instructional purposes. That's huge. That's above the state average. Canfield cost per pupil is just over $8,300. The state average is $8,700. Again, look at the success that our kids are having and look at how we compete fiscally. It's outstanding. 3-year trend. We have spent over the last 3 years less than what you folks support us with. And we pride ourselves in this. And we have a goal that we need to go 5 years out. So we still have another 2 years that our projection is even only spending less than we're bringing in. We thank and we're blessed to have the support that we have. But again, we try to make sure that we're responsible. Community engagement. I'd like to highlight a few things that we're looking forward to. We have a community tailgate coming up for the Poland game. I won't say anything negative there. That Sandy Hook Promise told me to do that. Chili cook-off. We have something, we're going to do this during a basketball game. We're going to invite the community in. It's going to be very reasonable for all you can eat chili. Look forward to that. State of the schools, we're going to do it again. We do this yearly. We do it in the wintertime. And strategic planning. We're coming up on our 5th year. Every 5 years, we have a goal to continue to go out and engage community to see where you folks want our school system to go. And that's very important. It is your school system. We're here to facilitate and make sure we manage it well. But we need your input there. Technology throughout the district has to improve, and we're continuing to do it. You asked me 5 years ago if we could envision what we have done up to this point and supported technology improvements in the district, I would have never guessed it. We are taking it to the next level. It's mandated. It has to happen for our kids. Cardinal success. I want to highlight a couple things that have been successful this year. We've been recognized as the best community for music. Again, diversity. Something that we value in our school system. Not only academia, but the arts as well. We're 6th in Northeastern Ohio when it comes to our district report card, and also in this category. Newsweek highlights the best 500 in the nation. Last year we were 332. This year we're 216. What does that look at? Test results, of course, ACT results, AP offerings, course offerings, post-secondary offerings, all of that comes into play. We're number 216 in the nation. You should, again, that's huge. Huge. That's your high school. That is your high school. And also 6th in Northeastern Ohio. The only districts that we need to reel in at this point are Solon, Beechwood, Independence, Aurora, and also one other, I want to say Hudson. Okay, so these are districts that, again, spend $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 per student. We stick our chest out and say $8,300 to educate our youth. Again, this is a motto that we've talked about and we've promised everybody about. It's a great time to be a Cardinal. Again, thank you for your support. Thanks for the council for having us. And again, I can't say this enough. Take care.
Thank you so much, Superintendent Jordan. We always like to hear about what's going on in our schools, and those were certainly some fantastic statistics as well. We wish you and your faculty, staff, and students the best for much continued success. Well, if you've driven down Palmyra Road lately past the Mahoning County Career and Technical Center, then you've probably noticed that the facility has expanded with a huge new wing. Here to tell us more about that project and what it means for the Canfield community is Dr. Ron Iarusi, Superintendent at the MCCTC.
Good morning, Canfield. I'd like to thank the Chamber today for inviting the Educational Service Center here to present to you. Typically, we are an organization that is very much behind the scenes. We don't get a chance to get out and tell our story very much, but that's okay because we are a support organization for our local school districts, and so they are the ones that should be out in front of their communities talking about the great job they do. As you heard from Canfield today, the wonderful school system. You are so fortunate to have the type of school system that you have here at Canfield. It attracts both businesses and families, and we have great leadership here as well. Typically, I like to go before Alex because, as you mentioned, there's a few jabs that get thrown, but today, rather than counterpunch, I think I'll take the rope-a-dope. Heidi, congratulations on your building. It's a wonderful facility. I know how nice it is to cut the ribbon on a new facility and move in, so congratulations to you too. Taking pictures over here, many of you recognize Amy Radinovic. We're very fortunate in our organization to have Amy with us at the Educational Service Center, and her responsibilities are to help districts with communications with their community. She has a staff of about 4 or 5 people that she works with that go out into the local districts and help. Let's see if I got this right. Okay. As you know, this summer we were very fortunate at the Educational Service Center to cut the ribbon on a new facility, and I'll talk a little bit about that today. It's a new building, obviously, there, but we got a long history. The Educational Service Center has been what used to be the county boards of education. First of all, how many of you are familiar with the ESC? I know the local school districts are. Probably many of you have no idea what an Educational Service Center is or what we do. Years ago, and in 1914, the state legislature created county boards of education. And so there were 88 county boards of education at that point in time. And they were created to help districts, especially smaller districts, local districts, with some of the services that they needed to provide in the area of administration, curriculum development, supervision, those types of things. And so the first Mahoning County Board of Education was located in the Ohio 1 building downtown. Those of you that are familiar with that, they moved a couple different places, the Southside Annex building over at Southwoods Executive Park. Those have been some of the locations for the ESC. In 1995, an important piece of legislation changed our whole world in regards to county boards of education. There is obviously a lot of feeling that the education system, not only in Ohio but across the country, the policies and rules and procedures should be established at the local level. That's the best way to make sure that they educate students. In our county alone, we are very diverse, as you well know. We have urban districts, we have suburban districts, we have rural districts. And for an entity like the County Board of Education to come in and try to help districts with policy, obviously in our county, one size doesn't fit all. And so we've pushed back a lot of those responsibilities back to the local school districts, and so now our organization helps to provide support for those districts in a lot of areas. Back in 1914, the County Board of Education started with 11 school districts. We now have 17 member districts, and we actually serve over 23 districts. Here's just some statistics. There are 46,000 students in a 5-county area that our organization serves. Many of you probably don't know this, but we employ almost 1,250 people across the county, which I don't know. I asked the chamber, and I think it might be in the top 10 now in regards to the number of employees that we have in the area. We have nearly 300 folks that are stationed at our new building. We have established a substitute teacher pool in response to what our local school districts. By the way, if anybody's interested in being a substitute teacher, make sure you see me after. There are 350 permanent assignments to the districts there. And we are an organization that provides shared services. Many of you are probably familiar with that concept, that when we can share services, we can help save taxpayer dollars by doing so. So here's some of the services that the ESC provides. Early childhood, we do a lot, typically for those students in preschool that have special needs. Our organization provides expertise in that area. Professional development for teachers. Curriculum development is still one of our responsibilities, but probably the largest service that we provide for districts is in the area of special education. And this is the area where shared services probably comes into play the most. Many local school districts, typically the smaller ones, have to provide services that are mandated by law. And so it becomes, if you don't have a number of students a large number of students, it becomes very, the cost to educate those students becomes very high. So our organization can help districts by consolidating some of those services to keep those costs down. There are county units in many of our school districts, but within those county units, this has nothing to do with open enrollment or anything like that. You may find students from Canfield, Boardman, South Range, because there are specific needs to those students. And so by us helping districts provide that, we can save on costs. Some other things we do for teachers, workshops, administrator advising. We have some collaborative space, by the way, at our new building. And so to the chamber, if you ever need anything, maybe next year's morning Canfield, we'd be more than happy to host that at the Educational Service Center. We also serve as the fiscal agent for other organizations. And that's, basically why we have such a large number of employees that you probably don't know about. All of the employees that work for the state support team, for our STEM school, Unlimited Classroom, and a new organization that we have that primarily provides personnel is the Mahoning Valley Regional Council of Governments, which acts as a personnel agency, mainly for part-time folks, substitute teachers that we can provide for local school districts. Okay, a little bit about the building, and I'll wrap up here shortly. 35,000 square feet, was an $8.5 million project, built on budget, on time. Some of the things that we were really concerned about is that in our building, we didn't want to put a lot into the aesthetics of the building, although it is a beautiful building. We were more interested in making the building functional and useful to our local school districts. The technology in our building is outstanding. It has enabled many of our teachers and administrators to engage themselves in quality professional development that they can take back to their districts. In this day and age, as you well know, and those of you who have children, their use of technology is outstanding. And usually our kids are much more technology savvy than we are. We call the kids the digital natives. We're the digital immigrants. All right, so just some cost-saving benefits to what we've been able to provide. I talked about shared services. 3 years ago, the County Board of Education, which was established, now the ESC Board, our ESC Board also serves as the same board for the Career and Technical Center. And so about 4 years ago, the treasurer at the ESC had resigned, and so there was an opportunity for us to engage in shared services. So now, or at that point in time, our school board appointed the Career and Technical Center as both the Career and Technical Center treasurer as well as the ESC treasurer. So there's shared services there that again saves taxpayer dollars. 2 years ago, Dr. Craig, who was the longtime superintendent at the Career and Technical Center, retired, and so our board took another opportunity to consolidate some services. They asked me to take on both those responsibilities of the ESC and the Career Tech Center. I can tell you that it's been phenomenal for me to be the superintendent at the Career and Technical Center. It's a great time right now for career and technical education. Many of you probably know when the CTC was established. At that point, it was called the Joint Vocational School. It's changed to Career and Technical Center for a reason. This is not your father's JVS. A lot of the programs that we have now, kids can come out with industry certifications. For example, a lot of our welders that we train there are getting high-paying, quality jobs right out of high school. They're certified to do that. We now have programs in biotechnology and engineering and those kinds of things that typically we didn't have. So that's just a little plug for the CTC. If you ever get a chance and you want to come out and see what we do, and we have airplanes inside the CTC that kids take apart and put back together. Pretty neat stuff. Many people have wondered how the ESC was able to build a facility that's $8.5 million and 35,000 square feet. And let me talk just briefly about that. We've had lease agreements in different places. Our last location was down at Southwoods Executive Building, which many of you are familiar with, was owned by the Armstrong Local Programming for a long time, which is now owned by the Coca Development Company. We had a great relationship with them. As you well know, many of you know that the age of buildings sometimes can be a burden. And so we had some things, and because our organization was growing so much, we were outgrowing that facility. So we sat down, and thankfully we were able to do this because of the shared services between our boards of education with the Career and Technical Center. And so we worked out a way that the Career and Technical Center could add an asset to what they do and work out a lease agreement with the ESC. So once this building is paid off, the CTC has an asset that they can hold on to, and the ESC actually has a lower rent payment through the Career and Technical Center, which again saves taxpayer dollars. So that's been a great endeavor. This is pretty important stuff for you in the chamber to know. Our budget at the ESC is $35 million. We have 443 full-time, 797 part-time employees. Tax dollars generated from local governments. Just the city income tax alone will generate anywhere between, I was conservative in this area, we think between $60,000 and $100,000. Youngstown city income tax. The other thing we're doing right now to help this community is working with the chamber to make sure that there's a connection between business, industry, and education, so that we, meaning the education providers in this area, are providing a quality workforce that hopefully will stay in the area and be productive citizens beyond that. The only way we can do that is by having conversations with business and industry. Nick Santucci and I worked very, very hard in the workforce development area. I encourage you that if you'd like to help in those areas, to see Nick, and we'd love to have you sit at the table and talk about what some of the needs you see in the future. That's about all I have. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the ESC and the Career Center. I encourage you that if you get a chance, you're welcome to stop by and see the new facility. But more importantly, if you're interested, I encourage you to go over to the Career Technical Center. We'd love to give you a tour and show off some of the things that we're doing over there. My contact information is there. Feel free to email me or call me. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you again, Dr. Irusi, for an informative look at the ESC and this new addition at the MCCTC. Certainly the campus has really grown tremendously over the years and is a great asset in our community, and we appreciate your joining us this morning. And from one great asset to another, we're happy to hear more about this facility in the Public Library of Youngstown, Mahoning County, and would like to call on its director, Heidi Daniel, for an update.
Good morning. I'm so glad to see you all here, and I'd like to thank the Chamber and Good Morning Canfield for hosting this here and giving us another opportunity to show off our lovely facility, which we are so proud of. We, of course, opened this building earlier this year at the end of January, and it was a project that was so well supported by the community around it. If you get a chance to walk around when you're done this morning, please look at all of our donor plaques and the big donor recognition board out in the lobby so that you can see all of the people in this community who help support this building, which we're very grateful for. It's been just overwhelming how the response from the community has been so positive for this library, and we're very grateful for that. Just to let you know, the building is right now usually the second or third busiest in our 15-branch county system. Austintown being our busiest, and then Boardman and Canfield usually fighting it out for the second spot. And because I live in Canfield and I'm a Canfield resident, I know it's really important to Canfield residents, and yes, you are busier than Boardman right now. So we're very glad to be able to say that this building is being very well used, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops as we go along. Interesting things about this building is that most of the people who visit are regular users rather than occasional users. We track usage and demographic populations, and I can tell you that the majority of people who come here are regular customers. We also have a large number of young families, more so than most of our branches in the system, utilizing this place, which is great for us to see. And we also have a large number of school children coming over either during the day or after school, as Alex mentioned. And we would like to thank the school because they've been incredibly supportive and responsive, and our relationship has been very beneficial, I think, to both of us. And we haven't had any issues, and anytime we have, the school has responded quite quickly to help us with them, and they've allowed us to send material home, particularly with the middle school students, to invite them back at the beginning of the school year, because we love having them here. And I came over one day after school and was just amazed and impressed to see kids in small groups working together in our rooms, working together, out on the floor working together. They were everywhere, and it was wonderful, and we loved it. So we hope that that continues to be the case in the future. The building has, so far this year through September, circulated already 54,000 more items than the previous building did when it was open, for the entire last year that it was open. So it is significantly busier, well, which is good because it's, 3 times the size. So it also has had almost 100,000 visitors through the door, which we're very excited about. I think it was a little over 97,000 in September, so I think we'll easily beat that 100,000 mark. Earlier this year, we had a national library organization that hosted a learning seminar here in this building, which was great because normally they host them in Cuyahoga or Cleveland. If they're going to be in this part of the state, it's for Pennsylvania and Ohio. It was focused on early learning, and they hosted it here because they felt this branch is a great example of what public libraries will be in the future, and so we were very pleased to be a trendsetter nationally, not just locally. The programming we're doing here, we have after school. We've been hosting a Lego Mindstorm program for elementary school students where they can come in and build and program robots. It had such a great response that when I came in to sign my son up for it, I was, found out that there was a waiting list. My son said, "Can't you talk to someone about that?" No, sorry, can't. I don't know anybody that could help you. But it was very popular. The kids loved it. All of the reviews we've gotten back have shown great learning in that area. So we're trying very hard to support the learning we know taking place in the elementary schools around us. And we also have bins coming in the next few months that will be set up to have guided reading levels so that parents can easily walk in and find the letter that corresponds to their child's guided reading, pull a book from that bin, and take it home with them. So as a parent, I know how important that is to be able to find that easily. So in the next few months, you'll be able to see those out here. We did do a survey of parents recently because we're very focused on outcomes and outputs, and so we surveyed parents who were using our early literacy space after a program one day, and the results after we've been compiling the survey results, what we're finding is that young parents are incorporating the library into their daily or weekly routine now, where before they said they either rarely visited the library or only for special programs. Now it's become part of their weekly routine. They're taking more books home, and they're focusing more on what their children are learning while they're in the space. So we're very happy about that because we want to support that pre-K kindergarten readiness. So we're thrilled about that. And of course, since we know that we also have a lot of older adults in our community, we have a great creative learning series here that focuses on the skill sets of continued brain development, because we don't want our brains to turn to mush, right? Sometimes I feel like mine is, but we want to keep that active throughout our lives. So this helps with keeping those neurons firing. It also helps with fine motor skills as we age, so that if you suffer from arthritis, this can help with some of that. And of course, it's just fun and great social engagement. So we're also focusing on all of the populations in our community as well, and we're just delighted to be here and to be able to service them. And of course, the building was built debt-free thanks to support from the private industry around us, our community as a whole, our donors, and the library's planning. We always build debt-free. We operate completely debt-free. So thank you for that, and I'll wrap it up. And I hope you all enjoyed this morning, and thank you again for being here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you again, Heidi, and I will concur. Putting a kids' play area in the library was genius. If you have little ones, it certainly keeps them coming here. They don't want to leave, but then they choose their own books and videos while they're here, and it brings mom back in after not having been to a library, a non-college library, in 20 years. So really, it is a fantastic asset in this community. Finally, as we have so many wonderful organizations, service organizations in Canfield, we wanted to offer each an opportunity to tell us about what they're working on in our community. And we thought we would start with Canfield Rotary, and are pleased to welcome the president of the group, Attorney Nils P. Johnson of the Johnson & Johnson Law Firm.
tough crowd. My name is Nils Johnson. I'm president of the Canfield Rotary Club this year. How many of you are Rotarians? Take a look around. There are a lot of us in the room. How many of you have been to a Rotary meeting before? Pretty good. How many people have been asked to give money to Rotary? All your hands should be up, otherwise we're not doing our job. Rotary's motto is service above self. So take a look around this unbelievable facility that we have here. Clothes that we're wearing, shirts on your backs, the nice cars that you drove to get here. We ought to be grateful for a lot. And Rotary's goal is to be mindful of that and to return some of those blessings to the community. We take that really seriously. But if you've ever been to one of our meetings, you know that we don't take ourselves too seriously. First thing that we do, we stand and we say the Pledge of Allegiance, pledging honor to this unbelievable country that we're a part of. Next thing we do is we sing a song. Some people don't like that about our meetings. Personally, I like it. It kind of cuts to the quick and lightens the mood a little bit. We're not a choir. It sounds horrible usually. Last week, give you an example, somebody suggested that we sing "O Canada." Depending on the outcome of the current election, I thought being we're all going to wind up there pretty soon. Next thing that we do at our meetings, after we sing, is we have a fellowship session where we ask one person from our club to stand and collect some fines, assess some fines to some of our members. Now, you can get assessed a fine for anything. For wearing mismatched socks, John. For being the best dressed guy in the room, Donnie. Or for being in the newspaper for something that maybe your business did or maybe some charitable organization or feature that you yourself have been a part of. It might not surprise you to learn that being in the newspaper, our club members are in the newspaper quite a lot. And most of the time for good things. Okay? So, I'm going to assess some fines to you all today. And at the end, I'm going to tell you by which way we're going to collect it. Okay? Pay $1 if you didn't know that Canfield Rotary was founded in 1955. A good long time ago. Pay $1 if you didn't know that Canfield Rotary was responsible for the following community events. The lighting of the green, Christmas trees, stringing lights, having that festival. This year's December 2nd, I believe. Friday, that's right. Fireworks on the 4th of July. Canfield Rotary is also responsible for purchasing about 250 coats per year to give to local families in need this year. You'd be stunned at the number of families that are sharing coats and that underprivileged children don't go to school because it's too cold to get out there and walk there. Pay $1 if you didn't know that Canfield Rotary is responsible for flying flags in many of the neighborhoods in Canfield here. It's our biggest fundraiser. We bring in about $30,000, so thank you for those of you who are supporting that program. And finally, pay $1 if you didn't know that Canfield Rotary donated $50,000 to this facility that we're in right now to support children's literacy. Rotary's lifelong mission has been to eradicate polio. If you didn't know that, I'm going to find you $2 for that. For context, in 1988, polio was in over 125 countries and paralyzed about 350,000 children every year. Those charitable efforts for eradicating polio and the efficiency with which Rotary International has done it has earned Rotary Foundation a perfect 100 and 100 rating by Charity Navigator, which ranks charities in the United States and international charities. That corresponds to transparency, which means that there's no secrets to where our pennies are going, and to efficiency, as to what is the money that we're receiving is actually going to the causes that we're intending it to go to. That's better than the American Red Cross, the American Cancer Society. It's better than anybody, folks. And it's maybe because of that reason that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, an enormous charitable philanthropic organization, has partnered with Rotary, and over the last several years has donated hundreds of millions of dollars to Rotary International to help eradicate polio. As a result of that, polio today is in 2 countries and results in 100 cases of polio per year, down from 350,000 about 30 years ago. So you guys owe me some money. You might not all, because we weren't taking score, we were keeping notes. So I encourage you to get involved with Rotary. For the fines that I've assessed you today, just like to plant a seed. If you remember the lighting of the green, it's only on the south side of the green. There are no electrical service lines running to the north part of the green. Our hope is to run those electrical service lines, get some sponsorships to run those to the north part of the green so that we can have the entire area strung with lights, make it festive for you all, and make it a good location for future vendors and other events on the north side of the green. So, thank you all very much for your time. Thank you to the Chamber and to the Library for hosting us, and the farmers for putting this program together. If you have any questions about Rotary at all, would like to get involved, please see me after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Johnson, for sharing a great update with us this morning. We're very fortunate to have a strong Rotary chapter in our community and appreciate all that you and the Rotarians do for our valley. And on that note, that concludes our updates for our fall program. I'm sure any of the speakers who are here today would be glad to answer any questions you may have after the program concludes. But I certainly want to thank, again, our speakers, Farmers National Bank for their sponsorship, and Kravitz Deli for providing breakfast, and to all of you for joining us on this Friday morning. We hope you have a great weekend.